Hey guys, what is up? My name is Lannon and welcome to the Jersey Zone. So today I wanted to do a tier list ranking all of my favorite to least favorite NHL teams. Now before we get into it, I do want to say if your team is at the bottom of this tier list, I don't want you guys to get offended. It's not that I hate the fan base or anything like that. Most of the time, the reason the teams are at the bottom of the tier list because of my favorite team, and we'll get into that into the tier list in a bit here, but I don't want you guys to get offended, so hopefully you guys don't. Hopefully you guys take this all lightly. And honestly, since I started collecting jerseys and since I've started watching more and more hockey, I really don't hate one specific team that much anymore. I do have a disliking towards some teams a little bit more than others, but I really don't hate a team that much anymore. I think that's just because I started watching more and more games of just each and every team, and I've started collecting jerseys of those teams, so even though on my tier list, I do have a least favorite team category, I honestly don't even really hate that team that much. But anyways, let's get into the tier list here. Okay, so here's the tier list here. Now, as you guys can see, I'm not doing it by letter this time. I'm going to be doing it by favorite, really like, meh, dislike, really dislike, and least favorite. So that's the way I'm going to be kind of having the rankings here. And before we actually get into it, I'm going to do my favorite team first, just to make it a little bit easier on myself so I can explain why maybe I have some teams a little bit lower than others or some teams higher. Just makes it a little bit easier for myself. And if you guys have watched a couple of my videos before, you probably know what my favorite team is. You can probably guess anyways because of what I'm wearing. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are my favorite team. I'm wearing a Matt Sundin jersey because he was my favorite player growing up. I've liked the Leafs for a really long time. I haven't liked them my entire life though. I actually started out as a different fan of a different team because my family was a fan of a different team, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. Now, it's kind of a funny story of why I started liking the Leafs. I had a cousin who I thought was really cool, and he started liking the Leafs. And I was pretty young at this time. I think I was probably 6, somewhere around that age. I'm not quite 100% sure what age I was, but I started liking them because he started liking them. He has since fallen out of liking the Leafs. He didn't like the Leafs for really that long, and I kind of just stuck with it, and I've liked the Leafs since then. So they've been my favorite team for a majority of my life, but not my entire life. Okay, so now into the rest of the teams. We're going to start off with the Anaheim Ducks. And for me, they're kind of just a meh team. I don't have anyone on the Ducks that I specifically dislike. I do really like Gibson a lot. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I think he is a fantastic goaltender. I really like their 25th anniversary jerseys. Those jerseys are sweet. And of course, the reverse retros are absolutely fantastic. I love those jerseys as well. And the jerseys do play a little bit of a factor if I like a team or not, because if a team is wearing a jersey that I like, I'll probably watch that game. And the more times they wear that jersey, the more I'll watch the team. And then I'll probably like them the more I watch them, if you guys can kind of understand what I'm saying there. But yeah, for me, I don't really watch a ton of Ducks games, I'll be honest with you, but I don't particularly dislike them. They're just in the meh category for me. Okay, so now let's go on to the Arizona Coyotes. And if you guys ask me where I would put the Arizona Coyotes, probably like last year, I would probably have them up in the really like, but they've kind of been hurt a little bit by all those controversies that kind of happened in the past year with their draft picks and all of that kind of stuff. So with all of that happening, like I said, it hurt my kind of liking of them a little bit. Obviously, that didn't really have anything to do with the players themselves, but more just the organization. So I'm going to put them into like. I still like them a decent amount. I love Phil Kessel. He's probably one of my favorite players. I was able to go to an Arizona Coyotes game before all of the COVID and everything happened, and I was able to watch Phil Kessel, and I just love watching him. He's so fun to watch. He's so distinct in his skating style and everything like that. You can immediately tell when he's on the ice, and I absolutely love that. And I really like Kemper and Ronta as well. They have some fantastic goaltending. Connor Garland is a lot of fun to watch as well. I think he's a really good player and fairly underrated. I don't think that many people talk about him, probably just because he's in Arizona. But either way, I still like the Arizona Coyotes a decent amount, but like I said, all those controversies kind of hurt it a little bit for me. Now we're on to the Boston Bruins, and if there's any Bruins fans watching, you already know where you are, and I apologize for that. It's nothing against you guys, but of course, the Boston Bruins are my least favorite team. I don't like the Boston Bruins at all. And of course, how could I as a Leafs fan? There's so many things that the Boston Bruins have done to the Leafs that it's just, I can't like them at all. You have that Rask trade, which didn't work out for the Leafs at all and has worked out really well for Boston. And Boston fans sometimes treat Rask really poorly, and I don't really understand why, because he's a very good goaltender. I really wish he's been on my team since that trade. I wish we never traded him, because I would absolutely love Rask on my team. But there's that, and then of course, them knocking out the Leafs 3 times in the playoffs since 2013, and all of those Game 7s that are just painful and awful memories for Leafs fans. And then you have Brad Marchand as well, and I hate Brad Marchand, not just because of the fact fact that he's an annoying player and he does these stupid things like licking people and all that annoying stuff that just doesn't make any sense. But he's really good. He's a very, very good player. And that's what annoys me the most about it, is if he was just a good player, I wouldn't hate him that much. It's like Pastrnak. I don't mind Pastrnak. I only dislike him because of how many times he's scored on the Leafs. Other than that, I kind of like Pastrnak. He's a really good player. He's a fantastic player. And if Brad Marchand doesn't do the annoying stuff that he does, I wouldn't hate him as much, but he just does it, and it's frustrating. And yes, I would like to have him on my team, because of course you would. Everyone would. Why wouldn't you want a player on that can be annoying and be a pest, but still be absolutely awesome offensively? And he's a great player offensively, and he's not bad defensively too. He's good on both sides of the puck. So of course I would want him on my team, but he's not on my team, and that's why I hate him so much. But there are a few things that I do like about Boston. I love their jerseys. I think their jerseys are pretty nice, especially their alternate jerseys and all of that kind of stuff. I really do like when they do other kind of jerseys like that. And I also like Bergeron, because how can you not like Bergeron? I'm pretty sure everybody in the league likes Bergeron. He's a great player. He seems like a really nice guy. He's a fantastic two-way center. I like him a lot, so I don't hate everything about Boston, but as a Leafs fan, of course I'm going to hate most things. Now on to the Buffalo Sabres, and if I didn't feel bad for the Buffalo Sabres, I would have them in really dislike, but of course, I feel bad for Buffalo because of how long it's been since they've missed the playoffs, so I'm going to have them in dislike, because I don't really love the Buffalo Sabres, but they are a lot of fun to play against. I love playing against them, but I do like some things about Buffalo. I love their jerseys. Their new jerseys, fantastic. They have done such a good job. My last jersey history tier list video is on the Buffalo Sabres, and if you guys watched that video, you would know that I think that their new stuff is absolutely amazing. I love what they have done with all of their jerseys recently. I really like Jack Eichel as well. I think he's a fantastic player. I feel so bad for him because, man, he carries that team so hard. So hard. He is absolutely fantastic, and I feel really, really bad for him because he deserves to be in the playoffs, and I want him to be in the playoffs pretty soon here because I think it would be a lot of fun to see him in the playoffs. So hopefully Buffalo makes the playoffs sometime soon. I don't think it's going to be this year because they're in a really, really tough division, but hopefully next year the divisions go back to normal and maybe they can make the playoffs, and hopefully they play the Leafs in the playoffs because that would be a fantastic series. I would absolutely love that. So hopefully that happens next year. And now we're on to the Calgary Flames, and this is my second favorite team. I really, really like the Calgary Flames. My family is a Calgary Flames family. They love the Calgary Flames. So I grew up liking the Flames. That 2004 run was heartbreaking. Man, that was awful, but I love the Flames a lot. I like a lot of their players. I love that they added Jacob Markstrom. I love that they added Josh Leivo, because those are two players that I really liked in Vancouver. And of course, Josh Leivo came from Toronto, who I really liked there. And I like Tkachuk, except for when he plays against the Leafs. Then I don't like him. But as long as they're not playing the Leafs, I like Tkachuk. And I like Gaudreau as well, although he can be frustrating at times. I do like him as well. So the Flames are my second favorite team. And then on to the Carolina Hurricanes, and I really, really like the Hurricanes as well. They are super, super fun to watch. They're probably one of the most fun teams to watch in the NHL. They're super fast, super skilled, great defensively. I love James Reimer as well, and of course they have Jake Gardiner. I love Sebastian Aho. They have a lot of players that I just absolutely love. I just love watching them. They're a fantastic team. Next up, on to the Chicago Blackhawks. Once again, they're kind of a meh team for me. I like Kane and Taves. They're a lot of fun to watch, but obviously Taves isn't playing this year, or he hasn't played so far. But other than that, I don't really love watching the Blackhawks. I don't watch them a ton. DeBrincat's pretty fun to watch as well, but like I said, other than that, they're just kind of a meh team for me. I don't really watch them too often, so that's why they're there. And then we're on to the Colorado Avalanche. I like watching the Avalanche. They're a lot of fun to watch. Of course, watching Nathan McKinnon is always just a blast. He's so good, and they're just a good team in general. They have a lot of good young players, so I like them. Then with the Columbus Blue Jackets, once again, for me, they're just a meh team. Although, actually, I might throw them into the like, just because of the fact that they added Patrick Laine, and I really like watching Patrick Laine. His shot is just so fun to watch. It's so fun to just watch him rip it, top shelf, and all that kind of stuff. So I really like watching Patrick Laine, and I like watching Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins as well. They had a fantastic year last year. It hasn't been as fantastic this year, but they're still a lot of fun to watch, and watching John Tortorella as well is always just a wild time. You never know what's going to happen with him, so I'll throw them into the like. And now onto the Dallas Stars. For me, Dallas is just a meh team as well. I don't really watch him a whole lot. I like Khudobin and Bishop, and I like Sagan as well, but other than that, they don't really have a ton of players that I overly like watching. I'll probably put them ahead of Chicago, but other than that, that's probably where I'll sit them for now. And with Detroit as well, they're kind of just in the meh category. It's a little hard to hate them because of how bad they are right now. They're not a very good team, but so for me, they're kind of just in the meh category. I don't really have a liking towards them or a dislike towards them. And then we're on to the Edmonton Oilers, and I don't mind the Edmonton Oilers, but I do like watching them, mostly just because of the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl are just a lot of fun to watch when they're not facing your team, because, man, they can just do some wild things, especially McDavid. I'm going to put them into the like category. I'm going to put them right behind Colorado. But yeah, I really like watching McDavid. He's a lot of fun. I like Tyler Ennis as well. I really liked him as a Leaf, but other than that, I don't really have a ton of liking towards them, so they're kind of more towards the bottom. It's mostly that McDavid Draisaitl that's kind of carrying them for me, just like how they carry the Oilers as well. And now we're on to the Florida Panthers, and for me, the Panthers are a little bit like Arizona, where I just feel bad for them. I want them to do well. I wish they do well. I feel a little bit bad for them because, man, Bobrovsky should really be better than he is right now. He is just not looked great since that contract. So for me, I'm going to put them into the really like, but they are on the lower side of the really like. They're a little bit closer to Arizona than they are to Carolina. Next up, onto the Kings. And for me, I'm going to put the Kings into, I'll put them into like, mostly because of the fact that they have Trevor Moore, and I really, really like Trevor Moore. I think he's a really fun player to watch. He's really hardworking. I like him. And I also really like their goaltending as well. I like Peterson. And I really, really like their reverse retros. I think the reverse retros are absolutely fantastic, so that helps a little bit as well. They are not really a great team, but I do like watching them every now and again, although I don't do it that often. And then we're on to the Minnesota Wild, and I feel bad if any Minnesota Wild fan is watching. I'm sorry, but you guys are the most meh team for me. You're straight meh for me. I have no feelings either way towards Minnesota. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're meh. For me, they're basically just how that team plays. They're the most middle of the road team. They always make the playoffs. They never really do well in the playoffs. They just slide their way in and they don't do anything. And that's how they feel for me. I don't hate them. I don't like them. They're just meh. And now on to the Montreal Canadiens. And honestly, before this season, I would probably have the Canadiens in dislike, mostly because of the fact that the rivalry between Canadiens and the Leafs hasn't really been a huge thing for the past few years, or at least it doesn't feel like it. Like ever since I became a Leafs fan, there's always been that you have to hate the Canadiens because it is the Leafs and the Canadiens, but honestly, I never really hugely felt it until this season because now, finally, both teams are good. So I'm going to put them into really dislike, but that's just because of the fact that, I am a Leafs fan. I do kind of feel like I need to put them there. And sometimes the Habs fans on Twitter can get a little annoying, but of course I'm a Leafs fan. Can't really say much there because, man, some of the Leafs Twitter is also extremely annoying. But with that being said, I do like Carey Price a lot. I think he is a fantastic goaltender. I would like to see him get a cup at one point. Not with the Canadiens, though, with maybe another team. But I would like Carey Price to get a cup because I do think he deserves it. But other than that, not really a huge fan of Canadiens, and definitely this year has changed it to the point where I do have them in really dislike. Now on to the Predators. And for the Predators, for me, once again, they're a team I don't really watch. They're kind of like the Wild, where I don't really have a strong feeling towards them. I don't hate them. I don't like them. They're just kind of there. I do like the reverse retro. The reverse retro looks nice, but their home jersey is awful. I hate looking at their home jersey. I think it's a really bad home jersey. So for me, they're just kind of in the meh category. Although I'm going to put them slightly ahead of Minnesota. So I'll put them there. Now on to the New Jersey Devils. And for me, I have a hard time where I want to put the Devils. I think I'm going to put the Devils at the highest side of the meh tier. I do really like Mackenzie Blackwood, and I like some of their young players as well, but I don't really watch the Devils that much, so I'm not really a huge fan of them, but I am going to have them on the higher side. Actually, I'm going to put them right behind Anaheim there, because I do like Gibson a little bit more than Mackenzie Blackwood. Next up, onto the New York Islanders, and honestly, before the whole John Tavares thing, if you asked me where I felt about the New York Islanders, I would not have a strong opinion about them. They would probably be like the Minnesota Wild for me, where I didn't hate them, didn't like them. They were just meh for me. After the John Tavares thing, man, I have them in really dislike. I am not a huge fan of that team at all. Although I will say the first game back that John Tavares played in the Coliseum was awesome. As a Leafs fan, it sucked because not only did they not play well, and they got absolutely demolished, but taking myself out of a Leafs fan, that night is hilarious. The fans' chants were hilarious, and it was a lot of fun. As a non-Leafs fan, as a Leafs fan, it was awful, and I hated it. But I do kind of respect them a little bit for that, although all of the other stuff kind of before that part and after John Tavares left, some of the fans, some of the stuff that they did, it made me not really love the fan base a whole lot, I will say that, but I'm sure there are plenty of very nice Islanders fans, but just some of the stuff that I saw was, man, like that Dear John video was really cringe, but I'll leave that at that. Now on to the New York Rangers, and I would put the Rangers into I'll put them a little bit ahead of Columbus here. I like the Rangers. I think they're a really fun team to watch. After that one situation that happened earlier this year, I'm not going to specifically touch on it a whole lot, but that also made me like them a little bit more after that situation was a little bit cleared up. That was one player who I really did not like on the team, and I'm glad that he's off of it. So that helped push them into the like category for me, and I really like Panarin. Their goaltending is really fun as well. I like Georgiev and Shesterkin. So for me, I'm going to put them into the like category. Actually, I think I might put them ahead of LA. I'll put them right behind the Oilers. I do like them a decent amount. Next up onto the Senators, and the Senators for me are exactly like Buffalo, where I kind of just feel bad for them. I should probably dislike them a lot more than I do because I'm a Leafs fan, but I really don't dislike them that much. I know they had a pretty good rivalry in the mid-2000s, but honestly, I don't really remember a whole lot. I don't know if it's just because I have a really bad memory, which I do. I don't have a great memory, or if it's because of the fact that I was just too young to remember all of that. But I really just don't hate the Senators that much. I like Connor Brown. Connor Brown is, I really like Connor Brown a lot, actually. I really miss him on the Leafs. I think he's a really fun player to watch. He's really hardworking. He works every single shift. Other than that, I don't really have anyone that I super like on the Senators, but I just feel bad for them. I hope they get better soon. Kind of. Also, not really too much. I do in a way because I think it would be fun for the Leafs to play a really good team in Ottawa, because Ottawa always plays the Leafs hard anyways. So I kind of want them to be good because it would be a really fun rivalry, but I also don't, because then I feel like the Leafs would lose a lot more games to Ottawa, and I don't want that to happen. So as much as I kind of want them to get better, I also really don't. Next up onto the Philadelphia Flyers, and for me, they're kind of just a meh team for me. Although they are on the higher side, I'm going to put them right ahead of the Anaheim Ducks here, where I don't really mind the Philadelphia Flyers. I like JVR a lot. I really liked him on the Leafs, and I'm glad that he's doing a lot better this year. Last year was a really, really bad year for him. Although I haven't watched a ton of Philadelphia games, I know he's doing better. I like Carter Hart. He's a lot of fun to watch. But other than that, they don't really have a ton of players that I really overly like or dislike, so they're just in the meh category for me. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins. I do like the Pittsburgh Penguins a decent amount, although they have kind of gotten rid of a few players that I've liked over the past few years. I really liked Fleury, although I still really like Crosby and Malkin, of course. So I'm probably going to put them into the like category, but they have fallen a little bit for me. A few years ago, I would probably have them in really like. For me, they have fallen down. I'll probably put them right behind Arizona, actually. This is where I'm going to put them. But yeah, a few years ago, I definitely would have had them in really like. I liked watching them a lot, but they have fallen down a little bit for me, but I still like them a decent amount. Next up onto Blues. And for me, once again, the Blues are kind of just meh. I'll put them right behind Anaheim is where I'll have them. I like Tyler Bozak on there because I love Bozak as a Leaf. With most of the teams, a lot of the players that I like on there are former Leafs, to be honest with you guys, but I like Tarasenko as well, although I know he's been injured over the past few seasons, so he hasn't played a ton, but they've still done really, really well without Tarasenko. Although I'm kind of glad that they won a Stanley Cup a few years ago, because it's nice to see a fan base that hasn't won a cup since 1967. It's good to see that, but at the same time, I would like another team who hasn't won a cup since 1967 to win it, and I wish that they won before the Blues, but, you know, whatever, I guess. Hopefully they'll win soon. Now we're on to the San Jose Sharks, and this is another team that's going to go into the meh tier for me. I like Erik Karlsson, although he's been playing not really that great since he kind of got that contract, and since he's been injured. He's really not lived up to that contract at all, and it's a really, really bad contract, actually. I like Brent Burns as well. I feel bad for Martin Jones because, man, like the hockey guy has said, he just can't really keep his save percentage above 900, so I kind of feel bad for him, but yeah, they're kind of just in the meh category for me. I'll put them ahead of Nashville, but that's where they're going to go for me. And then with the Lightning, for me, I'm going to put them I'll put them higher up into the meh tier, but I don't really hate them. I don't dislike them. I like watching them. They're a fun team to watch, so maybe I'll put them actually into the like category just ahead of Columbus. But yeah, I like watching them just because they're a really good team, so it makes them really fun to watch, but I don't really have a strong liking towards any player or dislike towards any players, so they're going to go into the like category just because they're a lot of fun to watch, but I don't really like or dislike any of that team. And then on to the Canucks. Man, the Canucks have been having an awful season this year. I feel absolutely horrible for them, and I really like the Canucks. I like watching them a lot. I love watching Pettersson and Besser and Horvat, and I like Demko as well. I really liked Markstrom when he was on the team. He's no longer on the team, and I also liked Levo as well. But man, I just feel bad for Vancouver fans because they have not played nearly as well as I thought they would this season. I thought they would at least be top 4 in the division, and they have just not been at all recently, so I feel bad, but I do like the Vancouver Canucks. I'll put them ahead of Florida, actually. I'll put them right behind Carolina, but that is where I'm going to have them for now. And then with the Vegas Golden Knights, I also like the Golden Knights a decent amount. I'll also put them ahead of Florida, I think. I do like watching the Golden Knights. Their third jerseys, their just pure gold jerseys, are very interesting, and I like a lot of their jerseys as well. Their home and aways are absolutely fantastic. Those gold helmets that they wore the other night, those were something, man. They were very, very Vegas, and I think they would look good with their gold jerseys, but with their home jerseys, they did not really look that great. But other than that, I like Vegas. They're a fun team to watch, and it's been pretty crazy that they've been good since entering the league, and they've not really had a bad season, so it's kind of crazy there, but I do like the Vegas Golden Knights a decent amount. And then on to the Washington Capitals, and they're once again kind of a meh team for me, but I'm going to throw them into the like category solely because of the fact of Alexander Ovechkin. When Ovechkin first entered the league, I actually hated Ovechkin. I didn't like him at all. I was much more of a Crosby fan than I was an Ovechkin fan. I didn't like Ovechkin at all, but over the years, I've come to like him. I've come to like his game a lot, and man, I really hope that he passes Gretzky for the goal total. I want him to do that. I'm really rooting for him to do that, so it makes me like the Capitals a decent amount. I'll throw them right behind the Oilers for now. But yeah, I like basically Ovechkin. He's the main reason why I'm going to have them up that high. If it wasn't for Ovi, I would probably just have them in the Mac category for myself. And then on to the last team, the Winnipeg Jets. There's a few players on the Jets that I like. I like Scheifele. I like Hellebuck. I did like Laine when he was on the team, and obviously now he's in Columbus. And I really like their jerseys a lot as well, so I think I'm going to put them into the like category. I'll put them right ahead of Columbus, right behind Tampa. But I do like them a decent amount, and I do like watching them. So there we go. That's going to be my tier list of my ranking of the teams in the NHL. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe for more Jersey content. Also, make sure to follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at the Jersey Zone YT on Instagram and at the Jersey Zone on Twitter. Links are in the description down below. Like I said, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.